Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video in the Rescue Saga Classic Car Restoration YouTube channel. As I'm sure if you're following this channel regularly you'll know, I have been working on the front suspension of the 1954 Morris Minor 2-door deluxe saloon for quite some time now. All the bushes have been changed to polyurethane here at the front, but that has thrown up a few issues with camber and toe in the steering angles. So in an effort to sort out the camber, I have packed out, I'll just take you around here to show you. I have packed out the wishbone there with a few washers. Just see them in here. And thankfully that has the two wheels at probably within half a degree of each other, which is not bad for a car that has had significant welding and is quite a lot older than me. So I can cope with that. The factory handbook says that it should have 0 degrees of camber. I think it's about 0.3 degrees on this side and minus 0.3 on that side. So it's near enough within half a degree of each other, and I think that's okay. However, in the fight to do that, what I've done is, you might notice if I show you, this wheel sitting nice and concentrically within the arch. Come around this side. And this side is sitting far too high. I think what I've done is put the wishbone back on one spline too high. So now I'm going to have to take the wheel off, take the wishbone apart, and put it all back together again, which is somewhat infuriating, but worth getting right. We're nearly there. Once the camber's sorted, we'll do the toe, and I'll show you how to do that. And that should hopefully be a bit more straightforward. But here goes nothing. Next clip you'll see, I'll have the wheel off and I'll take you a bit further. And here we are, after a bit of faffing about. I had actually marked the wishbones with some white Tipp-Ex, but somehow still managed to misalign them. So I'm going to move the wishbone up one spline, which should lower the car by 1.25 inches on this side. So I'm going to do that now, put the whole thing back together, and then adjust the toe. As you can see, in preparation for that, I've already loosened off the lock nut on the end of the track rod end, and I will wipe that grease off before I go any further. And significantly better height, I think that's a bit more appropriate. I've always had a few questions over the height in this car, but I think that most of it's due to the modern tyres. Are probably slightly lower profile than the old cross plies would have been, but I wouldn't put the car on cross plies from a safety perspective. So there we go, back on 4 wheels. I think that looks significantly better than it did anyway. All tightened up underneath. Still have to put the split pin in the tie rod, but quite happy with that. And I've just rechecked the camber as well there, and all the camber readings have remained appropriate for what I was expecting. So next, I'm going to jack the car up, and I'll show you a special technique for setting the toe. So what I've done here, I think this is a fairly easy solution, is use 2 bathroom tiles. These are not particularly glossy, but I've put sort of the terracotta side down to the ground and the other terracotta side up, so the 2 shiny sides are facing each other, and in between I've put a bit of engine oil, and I've also done that on the other side too. Okay, so what that's going to allow me to do, and this should be easy enough for you to try at home, is first of all, there's the steering wheel, and allows me to turn the steering without too much resistance, but also keeping the load of the car on the wheels. And this way I can most accurately set the toe. So first things first, make sure your steering is set dead ahead, wheels are straight, lock nut is off this side. I'm going to go around and set the lock nut on the other side, or loosen it off, sorry, and then I'm going to set up my plumb line. So they'll join me in a second and that'll be done. Next jump, I have set up a plumb line, okay? So this is just a piece of string tied to 2 axle stands, kept nice and taut by the weight of the axle stand. And what I've done is made sure it's parallel. First of all, the string has to be in line with the middle of the hub, and then I've measured from the string to the outer rim, string to the outer rim, and if those two measurements are equal, that means the string is parallel to the midline of the car. Coming up here then, this is going to be difficult to do and hold the camera at the same time, but as you can see, the caliper is just underneath the string. And here it's just level with the string. So that means there's too much toe out. So what I'm going to do is adjust the tie rod end to bring the back of the wheel out and the front of the wheel in. I'm going to do that now. Double check with the other side and another piece of string, and then that's that. Easy as that. I'll catch up. So we have some success. What I've done is adjusted the track rod. So I can demonstrate this while holding the camera. What I have done is put that up to the rim, and it's just a little bit less than it is at the back. So that's success. The owner's manual says there should be between 0 and 3 millimeters of toe in, presumably for rear-wheel drive cars. You accelerate and the front of the wheel slightly turns out, that will then become neutral. So that is the passenger side set. I'm going to move on to the other side. I'm going to keep the plumb line in just to double check I don't upset it by adjusting the other side. Tighten up the lock nuts, and then at long last this will be finished. I'll catch up with you once the other side's done. So there we have it. I have repeated the same process on the other side as I did on this side. And now I've tightened up the lock nuts for the track rod ends on both sides, so they're all secure. I have also rechecked the toe thereafter, and it's all set according to the handbook. And all I have to do is put the split pin in the tie rod on this driver's side, lift the car, take it off the oily tiles, and take it for a drive, and then I'll recheck the toe and camber once again, just once the load has been distributed around the car again. And that's it. At long last, that brings this part of this car's story to a close. That's the Mars Minor back on the road for a hopefully a good summer, although it's a bit wet today, which means I've got a good day's work in the garage. So what have I done? I've put polyurethane bushes in, I've serviced the engine with an oil change and an oil filter, so I'll have to check the plug gaps and the points. This side, still need to put the hubcaps back on, then we're good to go for the rest of the summer. Next job's coming up then, bring you back around this side. Land Rover still needs its new exhaust, so that's next, and then there's a funny rumbling coming from what I believe is the front passenger side wheel bearing in the MG. So those are the jobs that are coming up next. Of course, not forgetting about this wheel repair, but the MIG welder needs a bit of work before then. So there we go. Kept me busy for a couple of weeks, but glad to see it come to an end and get it back out in the road. Any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Any comments, I always reply to them. Please like the video and also subscribe to the channel for more updates coming along very soon. Thank you.